making our Christmas memories. I've been working so much lately.
Welcome back to my channel. My name is Kass, and tonight I thought I would just sit down with a nice cup of coffee. I have my Christmas tree on behind me and kind of setting the mood. I'm gonna light a candle, and I need to figure out exactly what is on my TBR for the rest of 2024. I have a few series that I really want to finish before the year is over, and I have a few other books that I just really want to finish this year. So we're gonna sit down, go through my TBR, look at what I've marked on Goodreads, look at what I have checked out from the library, figure out what unfinished series I have. And I also think that I'm also going to do like a reading vlog before the end of the year, trying to finish as many series as I can. So I'm going to go through, figure it out while you watch. And then, so grab a cup of coffee, grab your hot tea, whatever it is that is your cup of joy, cozy up with a nice soft blanket, and maybe take a look at what your TBR is for the rest of the year. Let's do this together, and then I'll go through that list with you guys. Okay. Okay, I've gone through series that I want to finish before the end of the year. I have a lot of series that I'm in the middle of, but I'm prioritizing them based on the ones that I can finish the quickest. So I have several series that I only have one book left to be either caught up or to be done with the series. In particular, I'm prioritizing the series that I can be done with after reading one more book. So I went through all of those and figured out ones that I could potentially finish before the end of the year. Then I went through my library checkouts, what I have in Libby, because I check out a lot of books on Libby, and so sometimes that dictates what I read. You know, if I have them on hold, they come in if they're available and I check them out. Then I went through Audible to look at what I had in Audible, what's on sale right now. I have a few credits to spend, so looking at books that I have been wanting to read this year. And then I have a couple of physical books that I don't have audio copies for, and or I only want to read them physically. And so they are books I'm actually going to physically read. I'm thinking about doing a 24-hour readathon. Let me know in the comments if that's something you would like to see, a 24-hour reading vlog. And I would actually physically read those books. So let's go through them, okay? So my longest list and biggest goal right now is series that I'm in the middle of. So the ones that I'm in the middle of that I have the last book for, like it's either I already own it or I have it in my possession, I already have it checked out or something of the sort, and I can finish it before the end of the year, is The Winners in the Beartown series. I started this a long time ago. I got pulled away from it for some reason. I can't remember what it was. It was like a life event. And I never got back to it. And I have this weird thing, like, it's really hard when I don't come back to like a last book or a book that I'm in the middle of. If I leave it for too long, it's really hard for me to come back to. Does that happen to anybody else? But I love Frederick Backman. He's one of my all-time favorite authors. And I love this series. So this is bugging me now that I can see it in my camera frame. Anyways, Beartown is one of my favorite series. Like, I love books 1 and 2 with my entire soul. So I want to finish The Winners this year. I want to finish that series because once I do, I will have read every single book Frederick Backman has written. So it's kind of a double check off. Like, I can check off the Beartown series and I can also check off reading all of Frederick Backman's books. Okay, if you haven't read him, highly recommend. He's amazing. My kittens are being psychotic. Here's what happens. My children go to bed at night and I'm like, okay, I can film. And then at 10 o'clock, my kitties get the zoomies and they think it is time to play and they go psycho. But if I wait too long, if I wait till they're done with the zoomies, then I'm too tired and I lose my motivation to film. So I don't know what we're going to do about that, but for right now, well, I guess once I move into my filming room, it won't be an issue because they won't be in there. But for right now, bear with me. And if you hear any ruckus, it's the kittens with the zoomies running like psycho cats all through my house. Okay, next is a book I'm already reading. I started it today. I did try to start it back in November, but then my dad passed away and I wasn't in the right frame of mind anymore. So I've come back to it and I just went ahead and restarted it because my brain was just kind of foggy from that time period and I wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything important. So that would be none other than Chain of Thorns, which is the last book in the Last Hours series. And the Last Hours trilogy is a spin-off from the Infernal Devices. So I read the Infernal Devices trio, and this will be the last book in the Last Hours trio. But it'll be like the 6th book in that series. And I love this series also so much. And I started it in 2024, and I want to finish it in 2024. So I'm working on that book right now. I want to read the 4th book in the Legends of Thesmar because it's the final book in the series. I was waiting for it to come out on audio, which it did in September, but my life was crazy and I never got to it. So, Legends of Thesmar. I can't remember the name of the book, but the 4th book. I'll put it right here on the screen. And then I want to read Play Along, which is the 4th book in the Windy Cities series. Now, they're interconnected series, so you don't necessarily have to read them in order, but there's 4 books out. I think there's supposed to be 5 total in the series. I've read the first 3. So, and I own Play Along. I think I bought it on like a really good like flash sale, if I remember correctly. So it's in my Audible account. So I definitely want to finish that. And that'll be a really good palette cleanser. I like to use romance books, like contemporary romance or rom-coms, in between my fantasy and my fiction and other type of books. So, and then I also want to finish Drown Me with Dreams, because it's the final book in the duology of Sing Me to Sleep, which I really, really enjoyed. Again, I tried to read it, but that was when I was in my reading slump after my dad passed away, and I just couldn't get into it because of my reading slump. But I would like to try it again because I would love to just finish that this year and check another series like off of my long list. 2 books that I only have physical copies of that I've really been thinking about and carrying around and really wanting to get to is, I think it's called The Details, And Jack Edwards recommended this book. And then my friend Sarah over at Sarah's Cozy Corner read it and absolutely loved it. She and I have very similar tastes. And it seems like it's one of those books that has lots of quotes that you are going to want to annotate and underline and sit with. So I want to physically read the book. And then the other book that I want to read is The Metal Slinger, which I heard about from Emmy Rossum. And I have the book, but there's no audio version. And so it's one that I have to take the time to sit down and read. So I'm going to try to do that sometime over Christmas break because I think I'll have a little bit of time to do that. On Libby, I have just recently gotten For She Is Wrath, which I've had on hold for a while. And that is a new release in the fantasy romantasy world. It came out, it was my Fairy Loot book last month, I think. Either this month or last month. I want to read it so that I know if I want to keep the book because I have these special editions. So when I get those books, I like to read them to see if I like them, to see if I want to keep the special edition or if I want to resell it. And it just became available. So I'm going to try to listen to that book on Libby. And then Audible's having a huge flash sale right now. Plus I have 3 credits I need to use pretty soon, like within the next month. And I really want to read The Lost Bookshop, and the wait time at the library is like months, like 4 or 5 or 6 months. I have multiple cards, and I think the shortest is 4 months at any of the locations that I have. So I'm thinking about just buying it, about using one of my credits. I like to be really strategic with my credits and buy things that I can only get on Audible or that have the really long wait times on the library app. So let me know, have you read this book? Did you love it? Should I try to read this in 2024? Is it worth me using one of my Audible credits on? Let me know in the comments below. And then while we're at it, my goal for 2024 was to read 150 books or more. And first of all, I read a lot more chunky books this year. Like, I bet that when Goodreads does my overview for 2024, my average pages read is going to be much higher than last year because I think I've read less books this year, but I think my page count has been much higher. Also, the year isn't over. I still have 2 more weeks left of the year, and I read a lot. I can read a lot in a week, especially given that my kids just left for the break. And so I have more time to listen to books. So there's a very good chance that I might end up with a higher number. But as of right now, I am currently reading my 150th book. So when I finish Chain of Thorns, I will have met my reading goal for the year. And I take this with a grain of salt, okay? I mainly set the goal because I like to see how I'm doing with reading, like where my reading pace is at. It's just like a feedback loop for me. But also, I love the formatting of Goodreads when you have a reading goal. How you can easily see all the books you've read recently and your ratings and all of that. They're a lot harder to locate quickly when you don't have a reading goal set in Goodreads. So I mainly do it for that perk. But it's not something I put a lot of pressure on myself for. I read to have fun. I read to enjoy. I read to learn. I don't read to read a certain amount of books. But I would like to read as many books as possible in my lifetime because there's so many good books out there. And I know there's so many millions more I will never get to read in my lifetime. And I can't think about it. That makes me really sad. But that being said, I want to read as many as I can while I'm capable of it. So that's where my goals come from. 150 was very realistic. And like I said, I'm going to hit it this year for sure. I will probably exceed it. I'm guessing that I'll end up around 160 something in books. That's where I'm at. As far as my goals for 2025, stick around because that will be in a future video. But I think that we will call it a night tonight. Let me know down in the comments, what is one book that you are going to read before the end of 2024? That you're like, I have to read this book. I'm going to finish this book before the end of the year. What is that book for you? I'd love to know. And if you aren't already subscribed, make sure you subscribe. I hope you're having a fabulous holiday and bookmas. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.
Baby, this year it's just gonna be you and me. Hanging by the